Liziane Danielle Tourzet, a 26-year-old French woman, had lived her entire life with a feeling of emptiness that she couldn't explain. The mystery of her father haunted her every day. Her story began in a small town in France, where she was born to a French woman named Mati and a Vietnamese man named Vung Tau, who had come to France to work in the early 1990s. Their relationship, however, was short-lived, and soon after Liziane's birth, her father disappeared from her life. What remained were a few faint memories from her mother and one precious photograph. Liziane's mother, Mati, had fallen in love with Mr. Thanh when he came to France to work at a local restaurant from 1990 to 1992. They lived together as if they were married, and Liziane was born in 1992. But the relationship quickly fell apart, and Mr. Thanh left. Mati never spoke much about him, and she kept most of the memories to herself. The only thing Liziane had was a single blurry photo of her father. All other pictures and documents were burned by her mother, leaving Liziane with a void and endless questions about the man she never knew. Growing up, Liziane felt incomplete. She often wondered why her father had disappeared, why he hadn't stayed, and why her mother seemed so secretive about him. Liziane knew her mother had worked hard and sacrificed a lot to raise her, but there was always a nagging feeling in her heart. She couldn't understand why her father was gone and why there were so many secrets. This constant sense of loss shaped her childhood and made her feel like something crucial was missing. When Liziane turned 12, she made the decision to leave home. She moved to an orphanage, seeking a sense of belonging and a chance to learn more about herself and her origins. Her desire to find her father grew stronger as the years went by. As she grew older, Liziane studied hard and worked to save money, determined to one day find the man in the photograph, the father she had never met. For years, Liziane scoured France, using social media to reach out to anyone who might have information about her father. She asked countless people if they knew where Mr. Thanh was, but no one had any answers. Despite this, Liziane refused to give up. She couldn't understand how a man who was once part of her life could vanish so completely. The pain of not knowing who he was, or even if he was still alive, consumed her thoughts. Then one day, Liziane decided to take a bold step. She decided to go to Vietnam, the country her father had come from, to search for him. She began to save money, determined to make the journey. Her goal was to raise 2,000 euros for the trip, but just as she managed to reach her goal, disaster struck. Liziane fell ill and required surgery, causing her to lose all the money she had saved. Devastated but not defeated, she began the long process of saving again. But this time, help came from an unexpected source. A close friend, Dillian, whom Liziane considered like a brother, heard about her struggle and offered to help. He promised to sponsor her trip and accompany her to Vietnam. Thanks to Dillian's support, Liziane's dream of finding her father was finally within reach. In January 2019, Liziane and Dillian flew from France to Vietnam. The first day in Vietnam was filled with uncertainty. Liziane and Dillian went to the French embassy for assistance, but they were turned away. They realized that no matter where they went, they had no clear direction. They traveled through Da Nang, Lam Dong, and finally reached Vung Tau, all the while hoping that something, anything, would lead them to Mr. Thanh. On January 12th, Liziane decided to visit a local news agency in Vung Tau. She posted her father's photo on her Facebook page, asking for any information about him. To her surprise, within hours, her post was shared more than 1,000 times. And then, an incredible thing happened. Someone recognized the man in the photo. It was Liziane's half-sister, Leti Kim Chi, who immediately commented that the man in the photo was her brother, Liziane's father. At first, Liziane couldn't believe it. She had spent so many years searching for a man whose name she barely knew. And now there was a clue, a person who recognized him. But despite the excitement, Liziane remained cautious. She still didn't dare hope. On the afternoon of January 14th, Liziane received a message with a picture of her father and herself as children. The confirmation was undeniable. This was her father. Filled with emotions, Liziane immediately arranged to travel from Dalat to Vung Tau to meet her family. The long-awaited reunion was about to happen. It was a moment that Liziane had dreamed of for so many years, a moment of truth that would finally answer the questions that had haunted her for her entire life. When Liziane met her grandmother, Ho Tivan, who was 77 years old, the emotions were overwhelming. Her grandmother welcomed her with open arms, saying, "I love you so much, Nga. I've waited for this moment for so long." Liziane's heart swelled with joy as she realized that her family had been waiting for her all these years. The day before the reunion, Liziane's grandmother gave her a Vietnamese name, Ngoc Yen Nga. The name meant so much to Liziane. She had always wanted a connection to her father, and now she had a new name that tied her to her roots. That night, Liziane stayed up, studying the name she had just been given, and when she finally met her grandmother, she proudly said her new name, Yen Nga, with a sense of belonging she had never known before. As the reunion unfolded, Liziane asked the question that had plagued her for so long. "Does my father love me? Does he still want me?" Tears filled her eyes as she spoke, afraid that her father might not feel the same way about her. Liziane's grandmother gently wiped her tears and answered, "Your father loves you very much. He has never forgotten you. Even after all these years, he still thinks about you. He tried for many years to find you, but the circumstances kept him from doing so. Now you found him, and he is so happy that you've come home." For Liziane, the journey was more than just about finding her father. It was about healing, understanding her past, and finding a place where she truly belonged. She learned that her father had never stopped thinking about her, even though they had been separated for so long. Despite the challenges, Liziane had found her way home, and in doing so had found a piece of herself she had been searching for all her life.